linear inequalities. Alright, that is the title of this video. It's going to be everything about linear inequalities. So, an inequality, what is that? Well, I'm sure you guys already know we have a less than symbol, less than or equal to symbol, a greater than or equal to symbol, and then a greater than symbol. So the easiest way to memorize these guys is an alligator mouth. Imagine it's like a little mouth. Okay? The alligator mouth always eats the bigger number. Okay? Alright. So, but we're going to be graphing these guys, doing something called interval notation, and we're going to be doing all kinds of stuff with these guys. So let's just jump right in to some problems. Number one. So we want to graph 2 is greater than x. 2 is greater than x. Okay, we want to graph that. So all you do is you just graph this guy on a number line. Okay? Now, this is the number that's of importance. So you don't need to like label your number line 0, 1, 2, 3. Like just put that number on it, okay? It gets the job done. So you put the 2 on this number line. Now you look at this symbol. This symbol is just a greater than symbol, okay? X is less than 2. So I always read it, I like to read it from the variable, okay? Because it makes a lot more sense. X is less than 2. So since it's only less than and it's not less than or equal to, we're going to put an open circle right there. Okay, it's an open circle because it's just the greater than symbol. Then, what kind of values are less than 2? Anything that goes to your left is less than. Anything that goes to your right is greater than. Okay? So that is our graph. Now, we also like to put this in what's called interval notation. So interval notation always goes left to right, okay? So this, you see this shaded area? It goes on forever. So what's over here? Over here is negative infinity. Whenever you have an infinity or negative infinity, you always use a parenthesis, okay? So it's parenthesis, negative infinity, then what we're coming to, boom, we come into 2. So it goes comma 2, and then a parenthesis. The reason that there's a parenthesis here at this 2 is because it's an open circle, okay? In the next problem, we'll see a bracket, okay? And I'll explain what that means, okay? So basically, another way of saying everything that is less than 2 is negative infinity to 2. And this is how you graphically represent it. Okay, cool. Number 2. Solve again, same directions. Solve. Well, actually the last one was graph, I guess. This one is solve. 2x minus 4 is less than or equal to 6. Okay? So now, this is why it's linear inequalities, because this is basically, it's a line, right? Don't know what else to say, it's a line. Linear means line, inequality is why we got the symbol here. Okay. So you're just going to solve it like a normal equation. You're going to add 4 to both sides. Those go away. You have 2x is less than or equal to 6 plus 4 is 10. Divide by 2. X is less than or equal to, 2 goes into 10, 5 times. So remember, always read it from the variable, from the x. So x is less than or equal to 5. So the first thing we want to do is we want to graph that. And I'm just going to graph it over here. Again, the number that's important here is just the 5. Now, since we have this little line over here, it's equal to, less than or equal to, you're going to have a solid circle right here at 5. Okay, it's solid because when it says or equal to, it's included. When there's not and equal sign is not included, so it's open. Okay? So now, x is less than or equal to 5. So remember, left is negative, right is positive. So once again, we're going this way. So this is your graph. When they say graph something, it just means graph it on this line, okay? So interval notation now. It's going all the way over here, which is negative infinity, so parenthesis, negative infinity, comma, to 5, right? But this 5 has a bracket here because it's included, because of this guy right here. Okay? It's included, so that would be your interval notation. Okay? Making sense? Next one. So we have number 3. So we have negative 2x minus 5 is greater than 9. And again, solve. Cool. So the first step is you just solve for x like any normal equation, but in this case it's an inequality. So you're going to add 5 over. So we have negative 2x is greater than 9 plus 5 is 14. Okay, now you divide by this negative 2, okay? Negative 2, negative 2. Now, here's the thing. Whenever you multiply, put this in your notes because this is important. This right here is how teachers trick you, okay? My job is to not let that happen. I know how all the teachers think. I can basically almost tell you what's going to be on the test before the test in any circumstance. I know how to get into these teachers' heads, okay? I've been doing this for a long time and I've taken all the same classes. And if I was a teacher, I would do it. So, when you multiply or divide by a negative number, and we're dealing with inequalities, okay? You have to switch that sign, that symbol from this way to the other way. Okay, I'm not that flexible. But, so we're going to have x now is less than, you're going to flip that guy, boom, less than, and then you do this, you have negative 7. And the reason you flipped it was because you divided by a negative number, okay? If you don't flip it, you're going to have a bad day, right? Okay, so let's graph it. Just put that number on there, negative 7. X is less than. There's no equal to there, so it's going to be an open circle. And it's less than negative 7. So you just, remember left is less than. I don't know why every single problem so far has been less than. That's just coincidence, I guess. So again, you're going to go negative infinity. All the way slamming into, boom, negative 7. But the negative 7 is not included. So you have a parenthesis. And that is your interval notation. Okay? Number 4. You get lots of examples of these guys. Number 4. So we have 8x minus 4 is greater than 8 plus 2x. Okay, do you remember how we solve a problem if there's a variable on each side as well as a number? What you do is you want to get all the x's on one side and you get all the numbers thrown on the other side. Okay? So, we're going to subtract 2x here and put it over here. That goes away. So we're going to end up with 8x minus 2x is 6x. Bring down the negative 4 is greater than 8. Now we're just going to, boom, throw this 4 over by adding it. Those go away. We have 6x greater than 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Boom. Divide by 6. X is greater than, finally we got greater than 2, because 6 goes into 12 2 times. Cool. We just go over here, graph this bad boy, put a 2 on here, boom. Is it an open circle or a closed circle? You tell me. It's an open circle because it's not equal to, okay? Then, remember, you read it from the letter. X is greater than, okay? Greater than is to the right. So you just go here and you thicken that guy. So now our interval notation is going to start from, remember, it's always left to right. So it starts at 2 this time, and it's parentheses because it's an open circle, comma, and where are we going? To infinity. To infinity and beyond. Okay? And that is your interval notation for this guy. Okay? It's not too bad, right? Let's do another one. Alright, so we got, what is this, number 5? We got 4 times 2x minus 7 plus 10 is less than 38. Cool. Just do the same thing we always do when we solve these guys. You're going to distribute this 4. Okay? 4 times 2 is 8. So we have 8x. Minus 4 times a negative 7 is a negative 28. Plus 10 is less than 38. Now you just combine some like terms here. We have 8x, negative 28 plus 10 is going to be a negative 18, is less than 38. Add over the 18. Line that up a little bit better. Plus the 18. So we have 8x is less than, that's going to be 8, 8, 16, 3, 4, 5, 56. 8x is less than 56. Divide both sides by 8. We're almost done. X is less than, how many times does 8 go into 56? 7 times, okay? So, this is just basic arithmetic. I know I'm going a little bit quicker, but that's because we're getting more along in the series. So if any of this was a little bit too fast for you, either just rewind this video and rewatch it and try to make sense of it. If not, there's videos where I go step by step really explaining how you solve problems. So we got this guy. Now you just graph it. Plop that number on there, 7, it's open circle because it's not equal to, x is less than 7, okay? Boom, your interval notation is going to be negative infinity, boom, 7 parentheses, boom. I think you guys are going to be getting it. Okay, cool. Number 6. So this guy's going to look a little bit different. Number 6. Okay, so we have 9x minus 7 is less than negative 25, or 3x plus 11 is greater than 25. So it's a little different. Let's put an or here. Okay, so all we're going to do is, let's just start off by solving each of these individually, okay? Okay, so you're going to add 7 over on this side. So you have 9x less than negative 25 plus 7 is going to be a negative 18. Divide both sides by 9. X is less than 9 goes into negative 18, negative 2 times, okay? So this guy's done. Now we go over here. So, bring this or down, so we have or, subtract 11, 3x is greater than, that's going to be, what is that going to be, 14? Yep, 14, divide both sides by 3, x is greater than 14 divided by 3. We got a fraction. I don't know what to do. I'm just kidding. It's just like any other numbers. Check it out. You draw your number line. Okay? Make sure I did this right. Cool. Yeah. Let's make a little change. Let's just make this one n equal to, just for variety here. We're gonna make that less than or equal to, okay? So check it out. You just put these two numbers on. So you put negative 2 and you put 14 over 3. The only thing you gotta do is you gotta make sure they're in order, okay? From lowest to greatest. This is a negative number, so it's gonna be smaller than this. This is gonna be a positive number, so it's over there. We can figure out what this number is if we wanted to. We don't need that. You just need to plop it on there and make sure it's in order, okay? Now, the reason I added this, because I just want to add more variety, because check it out. This is going to be a closed circle because it has the equal to thing now. This one is going to be an open circle because there's no equal to there, okay? So that's why I wanted to show you a little bit of variety. So now we got to graph it. X is less than negative 2, or x is greater than 14 over 3. So greater than is that way. So what you do, remember, it's always left to right. So your interval notation is going to be negative infinity, boom, slamming into negative 2. But this guy is going to be a bracket because of this equal to here. It's a closed circle. Now, when there's a gap here, when you have to jump from here to here, you're jumping like leapfrog, you're going to do what's called union. Okay, so it just looks like, it's just like a U. It's not fancy, it's just a U. Union, and then a parenthesis. This is going to be 14 over 3, trying to get that out of the way. So parenthesis 14 divided by 3, comma, where are we going to? Infinity. And that would be your interval notation. So negative infinity, negative 2, bracket, union, because we're jumping, boom, 14 over 3 to infinity. Okay? And there you go. Another thing I should add before I erase this part is there was an or here. Or means this or that. It can be either one. If there was an and, because there will be a problem with an and, don't have it on the sheet, but if you ever see an and means where they overlap, okay, just for your notes. So it has to overlap, meaning, let's say you had a graph, just as an example, you had something like this, and you graphed from there to there, and then from there to there. Well, it's going to cover the whole line, so what you're going to do is where they overlap in the middle. So you would only highlight where they overlap, and then it'll just be from here to there for your interval notation, okay? So put that in your notes in case you run into that. And that was the and situation. Okay. Cool. Another one, number 7. $18 is less than or equal to 4x minus 10, which is less than 50. So if you see something like this, what you do is you're going to solve it from the middle, okay? Always solve it from the middle. So what I mean by that is you're going to be adding 10 here, you're going to be adding 10 here, but you also have to add 10 over here. So 10 plus 18 is 28, less than or equal to, in the middle we just have 4x now because those got to cancel. Less than 50 plus 10 is 60. Now you just divide all three things by 4, okay? So 4 goes into 28 7 times. 7 is less than or equal to x, because the 4's cancel off, is less than, how many times does 4 go into 60? It's going to be 15, because 15, 30, 45, 60. Cool. So you solved it. X is all alone in the middle. So now, it's very important to read this from the middle. Always read it from the middle. It's very important. So, when you graph this guy, just put these guys on here. We got a 7, got a 15. Make sure they're in order. Okay, 7 is smaller than 15. The 7 will be included because of this guy here. It's equal to. This one is not. So that's an open circle. And then with that being said, again, read it from the middle. X is greater than 7, okay? And X is less than 15. Does this kind of look like something we were talking about before? Sure does. So for this guy, what you're going to do is you're gonna basically be where they overlap. Okay. So our interval notation is going to be 7 with a bracket because it's equal to, comma, over to 15. And 15 has a parenthesis. I'll just extend those all the way out. And it's just where they overlap. And they only overlap from there to there. Okay? Cool. So that is the examples of inequalities. Now we're going to do some stuff, inequalities with some word problems. All right. Okay. Number 8. Okay. A sign next to an amusement park ride, says that you must be at least 50 inches tall. At least 50 inches tall, okay? That's key right there. In order to get on the ride. Set up an inequality that shows the heights of people who are able to get on the ride. This is kind of funny because I'm extremely tall. I don't know if you can tell. I'm a freaking giant. I have a younger brother. His name's Edmund, and this guy is short. So when we were younger, we'd always want to. Whenever we go to like an amusement park, he'd want to ride the bumper boats, not bumper boats, bumper cars rather, and he could never drive. So he was always pissed off because I was the one who had to drive. You know, I'm the older brother, and I'm the taller one. So if you're watching this, this is for you, man. This is for you. Okay, so you must be at least 50 inches tall to ride. And we want to write an inequality that shows the heights of people who can ride. And it says you must be at least 50 inches tall. So what does that mean? It means your height has to be greater than or equal to 50. The people that can ride this ride have to be at least 50 inches tall. So your height has to be greater than or equal to 50 inches. That's it. Okay? Number 9, next page. Okay, number 9. An instructor tells his class that a score of 70 or higher out of a possible 100 on the final exam is needed to pass. I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that, right? Set up an inequality that shows the scores that are not passing. So, it says you need a 70 or higher to pass, okay? And it wants us to set up an inequality that shows the scores that are not passing, which would basically be 70 and below, right? But this is the issue. So we're going to say score. We're going to call this score. So your score would have to be less than 70, right? It has to be less than 70 because it cannot be equal to 70. If it's equal to 70, they pass. So it has to be less than 70, but that would be all the numbers, including negative numbers. And you can't get anything lower than a 0 on your test. So what you do is you have to say that S is going to be trapped between 0 and 70. It can equal 0 because you can get a score of 0. Like if you just put your name on the test and turn it in, you get a 0. So it can be equal to 0, but it has to be less than 70. And this inequality represents the scores needed to not pass your class. Okay? And let's hope you're on the other side. Okay, that's it. One last problem. I actually like this problem. It's a pretty cool problem. If a student averages 90 or higher on the 5 tests given in a math class, then the student will earn a grade of an A in his class. Richard's scores on the first 4 tests are 87, 82, 98, and 91. Not too bad. What scores on the 5th test will give Richard an A? Okay? So what you have to do to find an average of your test scores, to find an average in general, what you do is you add up all the numbers you have and you divide by how many numbers there are. So I'll show you this. So there's 5 tests and we know the score of the first 4. So we have 87 plus 82 plus 98 plus 91. This is the 4 tests we know, but it's asking us what does he have to score on the 5th test. We don't know what that is. So you're going to have to add plus X. This is the score that we don't know. That's the 5th test score. And you're going to divide that by how many numbers there are. This is how you find an average. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tests. So you divide that by 5. Now, the average of all 5 scores, this represents the average of all 5 scores. The average of all 5 tests has to be greater than or equal to 90. And if this is true, then I will get an A in the class. Okay? So the average of all your scores, which is this, it's all your test scores, plus the 5th one, which we haven't taken yet. That's what we're trying to find. We're trying to find what do we need to get on our 5th test score in order to remain with an A in the class. This is our average of the scores, has to be greater than or equal to 90. And then you just solve it. So what I would do first is I would get rid of this 5 here. So I'd multiply both sides by 5 because this 5 and this 5 will cancel. And you'll have 87 plus 82 plus 98 plus 91 plus X. is greater than or equal to 90 times 5 is going to be 450. Yeah. So now what you got to do is you got to add all these numbers here, okay? And you guys can do that by hand. It's not difficult. Just line them up and add them all up. But I'm going to be a cheater, and I'm just going to use the calculator for quickness. So we have 87 plus 82 plus 98 plus 91 equals 358. 358 plus our x greater than or equal to 450. Solve for x, you have to subtract 358, subtract 358, okay? So we're going to have x is greater than or equal to, subtract this guy, you got to borrow, this would be a 4, this is a 10, 10 minus 8 is 2, you're going to have to borrow again, this is 3, this is 14, 14 minus 5 is going to be, what was that, 9? 9, and then 3 minus 3 is 0. So, you have to get, make sure that this is what you have to get on the 5th test score, yep. So, you have to get a 92% or better on your 5th test in order to continue to have an A in your class. And this is a pretty good problem, because I know a lot of students, they always ask me, what do I need on my last test to, what do I need on my final to pass my class? And if you just wanted to pass, you would just say it has to be greater than or equal to 70, right? Because 70 is a C. And that's how you solve it. So if you like this linear inequalities video and you learned a lot from it, please subscribe, comment, share this with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next video.